I'm going to be doing this the entire episode.
Yeah. Just flashing, just all the autism out the window, just right there.
We'll never be able to get all the autism out the window. It'd be impossible.
No matter what.
We'll always have excess autism on this show.
You know what?
That should have been the name of the podcast should have been excess autism.
Excess autism on Fox, right after The Simpsons. I'm just going to leave this in because I was hilarious. Just the starting of it with that I'm just going to leave that in. And this is the Bro Plata podcast, everybody. Hi, how are you? This is a wonderful day because we have our first interview. Yeah. This will be going up Sunday, the 26th on the audio version, the audio podcast of this, and then the video will be up
6 months later, most likely.
6 months later, because my laptop.
That's about how Ray operates.
Yeah, I get on those things. What was that? What was that, Andrew?
I can relate, dude. I'm a procrastinator. I don't like to do things when I'm supposed to.
It's bad with me.
More enticing just to sit around and drink coffee than do anything productive, man.
Hell yeah, especially when you got sweet cups like this, man. Like this cup.
That
rules.
is a sweet cup.
And this is
I just got like a basic plain fucking cup, man.
You got the Karen cup? You got the Karen cup
I got
rocking?
the Karen cup.
I have my Ohio State cup, guys. Did you want to know? I have my Ohio State cup. There's vodka in it because it's almost 4 in the afternoon.
Yes, and there's fights on tonight.
Fights on tonight.
That's the fun part. You need to get drunk. I got iced tea and coffee because I'm waiting to drink for later. So, because I am a good boy. No, I'm not a good boy. I'm high as fuck right now. So that's always a good thing.
Man.
This is the Bro Plata podcast. And if you don't know, you should know this gentleman. He is an amazing fighter. I saw your fight with at Honor and at Nautica in Cleveland, man.
Oh,
that was
in August.
That was a war, son. War.
Yeah, it was. you ain't kidding, man.
Both of you guys, and our guest today is Andrew Law. This is a very ADD show, Andrew. So that's kind of how we operate.
I'm right there with you.
But you're around MMA fighters a lot, so you know the ADD is real.
Oh yeah, the head trauma is real.
Andrew Law is an MMA fighter from Dover, Ohio. He has fought in many organizations. Most recently, Honor Fighting Championship in Cleveland was his last fight that he had. How long have you been? How long have you been fighting total?
Mixed martial arts. I've been fighting 10 years, I think.
Okay.
I've done martial arts and competed in this kind of stuff my whole entire life. 5 years old till current, you know.
What'd you start out with?
Judo. That was my first discipline.
Okay.
I was like, my dad was a judo black belt when I was born, so like I came out of the womb, and next thing I'm on the mat learning how to throw people. I think I was 3 when he started teaching me.
That's awesome. How long have you known Danko is my next question, really.
That's an important question.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how long. It's been
Baker's dozen years, probably.
Yeah,
like that.
At least pretty close, somewhere around there.
Nice. How did you guys meet at martial arts classes or?
No, gosh, no. I didn't even know he did judo. Well, I knew he did judo, but I didn't know what judo was when I met him.
Was I even fighting whenever we first met? Was I a fighter yet?
No, you weren't fighting for a couple years.
I think so either.
Yeah.
We met at a party through mutual friends, and we both liked the band Shinedown. He's like, hey, I heard you can play guitar. I was like, yeah. He's like, you know any Shinedown? I was like, yeah. And then he started singing, and I started playing.
Yeah, Ray, I don't know if I told you this. We were in a band together when we were like 19, 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
What instruments you play, Andrew?
I play guitar.
Okay. Nice. And Shinedown, I love Shinedown. Actually, I saw them at the Rib Burn Off in Cleveland,
Nice.
for $8. I'm like, I'm not passing up a chance to see a great band like
$8
Shinedown.
Shinedown, man.
Yeah, man. But so you guys were in a band. What was the band name?
Charge the Mound.
Charge the Mound. Keeping a baseball thing with Tim Danko. I love
that was Tim's suggestion. If you don't know.
I love that name, man. I stand behind the name. I
Dude,
don't stand behind
was,
any of the music, but I stand
it
behind
was
the
a
name.
great name. I stand behind a few of our songs.
What were the songs? And can we get a copy of these songs?
I still have like the original demo of our songs.
I have
like
one too.
CD form.
That's going up on our Spotify. Like
No, it's not.
There will be
No,
an
it's not.
episode. No, we'll have an episode
dude.
of listening to the music.
You don't
That's
even
fine.
need Tim for this, man. I got the music.
Well, I want to see his face. Like, I want to see his face reacting because, like,
honestly, like anytime I was drunk at a party when it was still on MySpace before MySpace lost all its music, I'd put it on and just be like, "Hey, put this down your throat. Here's some music I made when I was 19. Drink it in."
Well, because the reason I wanted is because me and Tim being comics, we don't like a lot of comics don't listen to their own stuff after they record it. You have the psychos who are really into it, and those are the good ones. But at the same time, like dudes who listen to their own music, I always like seeing guys react to their own music.
Yeah,
because it's something they created, and you're just like, I want to see how they feel after they hear it. You know, it's always a fun thing with musicians, especially.
Man, we should do it now. We should play the song sorry, I can't remember my friends' names. Where Andrew played his guitar out of tune, and then we told him that his guitar was out of tune, and he got all pissed off at us.
No, it's not. This is the
no,
way
it's
it's
not.
supposed to
Like,
sound.
yes, it is. And then, like, a few months later, he's like, "Why'd you guys help me play with my guitar out of tune?" Like, we told you.
My guitar's not out of tune. You're out of tune.
That's basically what it was.
Great guitar player, sir. I love it. Oh my God, that's hilarious that you guys had a band. I always wanted to, and like a lot of things Tim knows, a lot of things I really want to do. It never came to like pass. Plus, like I always wanted to do like jock rock metal. Like that was like what I wanted to do. Like a lot of Creed in metal form.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been fun. Just when dream, that would have been great.
Dude, we like the Creed, man.
I think, Tim and I always wanted to cover Creed in the bands we were in, but nobody else would ever go for it.
I'm in a rare thing where, like, when Scott Stapp lost his mind, I got back into Creed. Like
that brought you back in.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh my God, I haven't listened to Creed in forever. Let's listen to like one. Let's do it.
I'll admit I never fell off the Creed.
No, me neither, man.
I did. I discovered Celtic punk, and then it was like all of a sudden Flogging Molly became like my new Creed.
You can have both.
I'm aware, but I gave more time to Flogging Molly.
That's fair.
It's awesome. You like Flogging Molly?
Not a big fan. I'm not into that genre so much. But dude, we listen to it at the gym, so that's like I gotta listen to it every now and then.
Oh hell yeah!
I don't get to pick the music station every time.
Oh man, you know what? This is going to segue into a really good question. Ready?
Okay.
It's very important stuff. All right, Andrew, you're a pro fighter. Walkout songs, man. That's a super important part of fighting, right? It's picking out your walkout music, man.
Right. It's got to mean something. It's got to make a statement.
Absolutely.
What have you been using, man? Well, I actually know the answer to some of these questions. I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to pretend like I don't. But yeah, what have you been using for your walkout music? What's your favorite walkout? Actually, go through all your walkout music, man. All the ones you remember. All of it. All the ones you remember. I want to hear them.
My current song that I've been on a kick of using is "Loser" from Beck.
I heard that when I watched that fight. I love that song.
And that's like I was on a 7-fight win streak up to that last fight, so it was funny to use it then. But now that I'm a real loser, I don't think that I can use a song with the same meaning.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you all of my walkout songs, Tim. I couldn't remember. I know there was some emo song because I remember being 21 with an emo swoop still fighting.
Man,
so
when I see those old videos and pictures of you, I'm like, why did we let them do that?
I don't know.
It's a true story.
Probably
Right?
would have fought you over it, just like the guitar.
Probably,
my hair's not gay, man.
This is true. More than once, like Andrew would have an amateur fight, right? He'd go weigh in, and I'd be with him. And then we'd go back to his dorm at Kent State, so he can straighten his hair. That's 100% true. That's happened more than once. He's like, dude, I have to go back to my dorm while I have to straighten my hair before my fights.
Man, you look good, feel good, fight good. Right, exactly.
I'm like, we should win, man. We should win.
It was on purpose.
I was about to say, if it's for peace of mind, I will forgive it. If it's for peace of mind right before you're about to make an athletic venture, that's perfectly understandable.
I think that's the whole reason I could get away with it, you know? Like, I mean, I did. I straightened my hair, emo swoop, but motherfucker, I'll kick your ass if you say shit.
Exactly, man.
It was funny, man, because when he was fighting as an amateur, all these guys who thought they were real tough would want to fight him because they look like a pussy. It was funny because they call him out and then he beat him. It was pretty fun.
I always like fight bros that like, oh, you're a bitch, you're a pussy. Those are the guys who go down the easiest, and then you can laugh at the hardest, in my opinion. Because it's always, as long as you can back it up, I'm cool with it. But if you're like making fun of you for having a hairstyle like that and want to beat you up and thinking you're a pussy, those are usually, I always say, those are the ones you want to stay away from. They're the silent assassins. Even if they look like I'm like the third or the what's it called, second string bass player from My Chemical Romance. I don't want to fuck with them because I don't know. Like, why would you do that?
That is what you look like.
But I would mock you for the hair.
You look like you look like the backup bass player for My Chem. You did.
It was winning fights, man, and it got me some good fights because legit. I think I was with you, Tim. Were we in Cleveland watching a NAFS fight whenever Ricky Sandlin wanted to fight me?
And then he just looks up and stares at you.
What?
And then you get a text message that said you're going to fight him.
Well, this dude, I just won my first amateur title fight, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hi, you Andrew Law?" Yeah. He's like, "I'm Ricky Sandlin." "Oh, cool, man." He's like, "I'm going to take your belt from you." So I called the guy that sets my fights up. I was like, "Scott, who's Ricky Sandlin? He said he wants to fight me." He's like, "Hang on a second." And then Scott hangs up the phone with me. And then like 3 minutes later, Ricky Sandlin like looks back up on the balcony where Tim and I are sitting. Scott texts me, "Hey, you and Ricky are fighting."
Jesus, what is that like when you get that text? Like when you get a text or a call from a promoter setting up a fight, especially one that you want. Like, what is that feeling like when you're like, yes, I finally, like, have you ever had that where you're like, I've wanted this fucker for so long, and you finally like, I'm gonna get a chance? Do you have that have you had those kind of fights where you're like, I want to beat the shit out of that dude. Like, I want to kick the living shit out of him, make it happen.
I've had fights that I've wanted to have, and it's crazy because the ones that I wanted, I usually end up losing most of those ones, man. But I don't know, man. I'm not like the kind of guy that just wants to just beat anybody up. Like I don't pick like a certain person. It's like when I want to fight, I get a hold of my guy that sets up fights. Hey, I want to fight, and he usually finds me a suitable matchup for what I'm looking for, and usually goes from there.
I do remember this fight didn't happen because I think you got hurt, but you were pretty pumped to fight Julian Lane.
I was stoked to fight Julian Lane, man. That one did suck. Yeah, I got injured like 2 days before the fight.
Yeah, and that was after he was on Tough, right? The first time.
Yeah, it was after the Let Me Bang incident.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was excited for that fight too, but yeah, it sucked it didn't happen.
I'm trying. Tim, do you have a question? I'm kind of the weeds kicking in.
Dude, I have all kinds of questions, man.
Go ahead.
No, you know what? I'm going to answer the question I asked him earlier because I remember some of his fight songs. You used Maylene in the Sons of Disaster before.
I did use Maylene.
You used Flyleaf before.
Nice.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one, man.
Do you remember the song?
Sick.
So sick, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a solid walkout too. I walked out to Smells Like Teen Spirit from Nirvana. That was one of them.
Lit. You did Lit once. Almost.
Yeah, I did do Lit. That was a good one too.
My all-time favorite though, because I had to talk you into. I spent a lot of time talking you into this one, and it worked out. The UPO song "Godless." Like when you were an amateur, you used that one time.
I literally forgot that was a band until you just said that.
Dude, everyone has.
I don't even know who UPO was. You know
the song though. Like if you heard the song, you'd remember the song.
Oh, it's a great song. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen. I don't remember.
I don't mean to be godless.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Now I know it's
better. Yeah.
I haven't heard that song in probably a decade.
Oh no, but it's a great tune, man.
It's a great song. I forgot that they were a band, man. I'm glad we talked about this.
Oh man, the thing is, like before we started recording, I had tons of questions. Now I can't remember them. I'll remember them.
Okay, it's the vodka.
Yeah,
Are you
probably.
Timothy?
Yeah, that's true. I'm always spacing. I've been spacing my entire life. Let's see. Okay. I'm just gonna ask you some softball ones while I'm trying to think of a good one.
Yeah.
What's your record, Andrew?
I don't play softball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Come on.
My professional record is 11 wins versus 5 losses.
What? That's what I'm going to tell you, man. Okay, so I know in the middle there you had a pretty shitty streak, right?
Yeah, 0-3, a full 12 months, fucking beaten.
Oh.
So what's that like, man? What's it like when you were 4-1, right? And you're trying to make a career fighting, right? And then all of a sudden you have 3 really bad clunkers in a row. So like, how are you feeling? Where was your head at that point? And how did you get out of that funk?
That was tough, man. I mean, I like judo, wrestling, fighting my whole life. I had never lost 3 times in a row at anything. So that was a whole new, because like you said, you go from 4-1 solid record. Now I'm sitting at 4-4. I'm average. I think what kicked that streak, I ended up taking a fight on 3 days notice. And so I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't have time to train for it. That was the first time that I used a loser from Beck too, was at that fight. Cause it's like some dude got a hold of me. Hey, you want to fight this weekend? Yeah, fuck it. I'm a loser anyway. We might as well fight. And I ended up winning. And then I hadn't lost since 2015 till my last fight.
Yeah, I was about to say, I looked at your Tapology, and it said you were on and even in the video, now that I'm remembering that I watched of your last fight, you were on a 6-fight winning streak.
7.
7.
Get it right, Ray. Get it right. Get it right.
God damn it, I'm trying. But what, like, when you do go from, a loss and then all of a sudden you're on a 7-fight winning streak like that, what does that do to like your confidence as a fighter? Like, do you feel that every fight, or is it just like you're like, I won last one, I'm just gonna go on to the next one? Like, what's your thought process when it comes to like getting a streak like that going?
Yeah, I mean, the winning streak obviously feels way better than the losing streak does, but that's like, I've never really lost and like damn, I just lost because that dude was better than me. So I'm not one that typically gets discouraged by losing. I mean, even losing 3 in a row, that was tough, but at no point was I thinking like, man, I just suck, I should quit, So I mean, it feels a lot better to win, and I guess you ride that kind of momentum, but each fight's individual anyway. So I try not to look at the last fight that I fought, because I don't want to be that same person going out this time that went out the last time anyway. So if you try to pressure a fight into being like any of the other ones before, you, in my experience, you'll end up losing or not having a good experience that night.
Oh, I like your thought process on that, because I've always wondered that with fighters. Like, you get a loss, and then, I mean, I don't know if you're a fan of Warren Zevon. He did a song about Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and one of the lines in it that I always kind of think should be in a fighter's mentality anyway, or even an athlete in general, is that like, if you can't take it, then it really doesn't mean anything at that point. Like, if you can't take the punishment or any sport or anything like that, you got to be it's more up here than it is physically, obviously, with that. But like, I like the fact that you have that mentality when it comes to each fight, because I think there are guys like that kind of ride a momentum and then it gets to their head. You have the perfect kind of like a thing for thought process for that, in my opinion.
Well, dude, I've been on the judo mat since I was 5 years old, and I started competing in judo at 6 years old. So I've lost so many times in my life on the mat, one-on-one versus other people. So it's like, it is what it is, like, I guess I've learned over time that losing don't matter, just like winning don't matter. It's just
exactly, you
got another fight then if you want to keep going. It don't matter what the last one was like. You got this one now.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing. Like, I've in the last couple years have dabbled in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and like, that's the one thing I always will say is Jiu-Jitsu.
I got this shirt on. I'll show it to you right there.
Putting it on full screen, baby.
Is basically just judo, man.
Yeah, Yeah, there is a lot of, I've noticed that a lot of similarities between.
They're cousins to each other.
Yeah. It's awesome though to kind of see how it's like things have been taken from judo, put into Brazil or BJJ, and you're just like, oh yeah, it fits miraculously. I love it.
Yeah.
Plus, even Japanese jiu-jitsu uses a lot of judo as well. So that's the one nice part about that. But yeah, man, I've always said, you lose. The best part about jiu-jitsu is it teaches you to lose. That's all it really does.
Straight up, man.
Yes, Timmy. You have your hand.
Yeah, I got a question. So, all right. So I know this from seeing you fight a lot, brother. You're a person. A lot of people have judo black belts that fight. You're not the only one, but not a lot of people, other than maybe Ronda Rousey, lead with judo the way you do. If you watch your fights, you try to get a throw a lot, right? You lead with judo a lot, and like why? I don't know. What was the thought process, and maybe having that be part of your style? And why do you think a lot of other judokas don't fight that way?
Dude, I mean, it's what I was good at before I started fighting MMA. So, I mean, and I've literally never met a person in this entire world that I have not been able to throw. So that's where I go. That's what I do. I'm good at throwing people to the ground, you know, and I've done it for my whole life. It's all second nature even at this point. And I think a lot of judo guys, when they start to learn how to strike, they get sold on striking because it's easier and it doesn't consume the same amount of cardio, I guess. So that's like, I think those guys see the striking game and they would rather play that because it doesn't cost their gas tank as much. But then they end up going on losing streaks. And that's actually a big basis behind my 3-fight losing streak, is I spent most of my career as just a judo guy, just a grappler. And I finally was starting to get comfortable with striking, and I wanted to prove that I could strike. And then I ended up losing 3 in a row, trying to fight a way that I don't necessarily fight.
Well, how much striking training did you have before you started MMA, and how did you transition from judo to MMA? And yeah, that's the question.
I had 0 striking experience going into MMA. I had never been in a fist fight. I had never thrown a punch. I had never been punched. So I entered MMA as strictly a judo guy and a wrestler. So I had experience without a gi on, but that's like, I fought a boxer who was a stud wrestler my first time out. I walked out with my hands way down here, ate a 3-piece right off the rip. And that's I got addicted to it, and then I did start to put the time in to learn the rest of the arts, the aspects that judo didn't incorporate, which was the striking. But I think I don't even think I had a striking coach, like my first striking coach, till I had 4 or 5 amateur MMA fights already. And I only lost the first one, and I went on a 6-fight win streak after losing that first one. And like I said, I don't think that I had any striking till I was 4 or 5 fights deep.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And that, I'm going to ask you this question. Like, when it comes to after you do have those, or when you do first, is it awkward to go through that? Like, how awkward is it to go from like being like, hey man, I'm going to do this striking thing, and then being like, oh no, I've got like, what's up here for that? Like, do you immediately, after all of a sudden you get that 3-piece, are you like scrambling to go like, oh no, go to wrestling? Why did I try? Or are you like, all right, we got to like figure this shit out? Like, where do you go mentally from there after you do, you know, pump yourself up by the striking, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you get Jorge Masvidal in the back of the, you know, back of the set, getting thrown punches, but you're not the one getting giving the 3-piece. What is that like mentally when you get in there and that happens to you? Like, what do you think? Caught. Yeah, like, what was your thought when you did have that when you had your hands down, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, like.
Well, that was straight panic, man. Literally, I've never been in a fight. I competed judo and I wrestled, but I'd never been punched. So that was my first time ever getting clocked in the face, and so it was a lot to deal with. And that's my first fight is hilarious. I've had a decent decently successful career thus far, and that was that guy's only fight. So he's got a win over me. So that's like Tim and I always joke, like I'm gonna get to the UFC, win a world championship, and this dude's gonna pull out like a dusty DVD, like, hey, check it out. I fucking whooped this dude's ass.
You know what's funny is the same thing happened to Cody Garbrandt. That guy, his first fight, and that guy never did fight again. So that guy has one amateur fight ever, and he choked out Cody Garbrandt.
And he beat a former world champion.
Choked out Cody Garbrandt? Get out of it. There's a dude. Who is this man?
I don't look him up, man. There's a guy, I think he's from Pennsylvania. There's some guy at a bar in Pittsburgh right now telling me, I could beat Cody Garbrandt's ass.
He watches him crack TJ Dillashaw, and then it's like, oh, I choked him out. He's nothing. Like, everybody's in the bar going, shut your mouth.
And you just got to pull up mixedmartialarts.com. Like, hey, check it out. It's legit.
There's a shirt dog with his name on it.
So now you've been training striking for like 10 years or so now, right? How comfortable do you feel with it? And do you have the love for it the way you do for judo or anywhere close to that?
I love judo, man. And I love striking. And that's like, it took a couple coaches, and then it took a long time to get comfortable because I knew how to do judo. I walked into MMA and I already knew how to do it. So striking was learning something completely new. And it took a long time to get comfortable. And then I bet you I was into my pro career before I even threw a punch up on my feet. But that's I got lucky. I found Ryan Madigan, who's an exceptional kickboxer, and he was a very good coach for me. And then Robert Meese, he is a very good boxing coach, and he's kind of I use a lot of the tools that I learned from Ryan Madigan, but I apply them in methodology that I learned from Robert. His striking style is better. I just enjoy the knees and the elbows and the kicks that are implemented in kickboxing as opposed to just straight boxing.
That seems to be like a thing that you're seeing too in mixed martial arts, is you're seeing a lot more kickboxing than what, because I mean, you look back at, God, even 10 years ago, like Rashad Evans was a king and he was just a boxer. Like he knew kickboxing, but he was primarily just stand and bang, old school boxing. And do you feel that I think you just answered the question, but like how much more of an impact do you think like the actual like extra limbs help in a mixed martial arts fight compared to just being a guy who focuses just like on, regular old American boxing style of fighting in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I mean, the extra tools are useful. It's like, I don't know, I guess I start to think more of like the approach to fighting the more that I do it and learn it. But that's like, it's just longer range weapons down into shorter range weapons. So if you're restricted to just boxing, that's the distance that you have to fight at, and you have to fight at that distance all the time. If you incorporate kicks into your game, you now have a different distance you can fight from. And then if you incorporate grappling, you can fight while you're touching the guy then, and then anywhere in between there.
When you first started learning the how much did your confidence go up after you started really getting those abilities down compared to just throwing hands? How, like, did you feel yourself get more confident with those skills in fights, I mean, as it went on with going just from like throwing a punch, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can now just toe somebody in the eye and I can really do some damage? Like, what was when you first realized, like, was it like an epiphany moment where you're like, oh my God, this is amazing, how did I never know this before?
Or has it happened yet? Has it even happened yet?
Am I comfortable with the striking game?
Yes.
I'm more comfortable with it. I don't think that I'll never know striking like I know judo. So I don't know that I'll ever be able to compare the two. So that's like, I could do judo with my eyes closed against anybody in the world. Striking is still, it's not new anymore, but it's still the newest part of my game. So it's where I have the least amount of confidence in fighting. But that's like, I had a lot more faith in kicks starting out than I actually did the boxing range, because I think kicks are easier because you're farther away. There's less countering that can come back at you, and you have more distance between you and the opponent. So that's like it took more time getting comfortable with the boxing range. That in close, you are here to punch each other and swing, and that part of striking is the most intimidating part.
My question about like the kicks and everything, and I noticed this in MMA fights. Level be damned, it really on this. This doesn't matter what kind of, if you're amateur or whatever. What I love whenever you do see a heavy-footed boxer up front and guy who knows some kicks, and you can just see the frustration on a boxer's face of like, how do I get at him? He's gonna kick my knee. When you first threw at a boxer and like got him off balance, did you know you had gotten like the upper hand a little bit where you could throw his timing off a little bit, or was it like you're just like, I'm just gonna take his knee out now, it's gonna be fun?
Well, that's like most of my fights, I end up throwing the guy. I think I've only had one fight where I didn't get a throw, and it was mostly my fault because I actually bailed on the throw because I wanted to strike, and then I ended up losing the fight, which was dumb. But that's like I'm gonna get shit for saying this, but I think boxers are the easiest people in the world to fight.
I would assume so. You watch a lot of those fights with boxers versus kickboxers, and I mean the only real one that kind of throws a monkey wrench into that is what we watched in Iowa a couple days ago with Pat Miletich. But even then, that's sort of that's more of like just a thumb in the gear more than it is anything else.
This is coming from the guy, Andrew. You told me this recently that you said boxing isn't fighting, which is dumb. So what's your thought behind that? And then we'll talk about why you're wrong.
Boxing is boxing, man. It's not fighting.
But it has rules. It's fighting with rules. I mean, MMA has rules too.
Right.
You can't fish hook somebody in MMA, right? And boxing, you're only allowed to punch. It's still a fight, man. You're getting hit. They're both fights.
Yeah.
I love you.
With the least amount of weapons that you can give somebody to fight with, it's not a true mixture of competition.
I mean, I can understand.
It's still a fight, man.
I was about to say,
it's a competition. It sure is, man. It's a boxing match.
I mean, my thing is, I started.
My judo fucking fights don't go on my MMA record. If they did, I'd have like 3,000 fucking wins.
I'm not counting it like comparing it to MMA. I'm just saying that they're both fights. They're both fighting sports.
They're both scraps, sure.
Okay. All right.
I get both points here. Like, I started watching boxing at a very young age, and like it was to me, that's how you start watching fighting. And then obviously with the proliferation of mixed martial arts over the years, I don't look at it. I look at them both as a form of fighting rather than having just like, oh, this is fighting, this isn't fighting. It's more like I akin it to pro wrestling in a way. The gimmick is there. The rules are there. You just have to adhere to it, and it's that thing.
Yeah.
That's how I've always gotten those debates, man, because I hear those debates all the time, and it frustrates me because I'm like, it's just an evolution. Like, this is evolution of a sport. Like, combat sports in general, they started off, wrestling. Wrestling is the oldest sport, actual wrestling, not pro wrestling. I am wearing a pro wrestling t-shirt today, but I still I look at it's just combat sports. If it's a form of combat, will you pay to watch it? And if usually 9 times out of 10, you do get those people who will say no because they don't like fighting. But the people who love fighting, they're like, I'll pay any amount of money right now. Like, just make sure I love the fight. Like, that's all I want. For me as a fan, at least. But, I mean, with that whole debate of wrestling, of MMA versus boxing, to me, they're one and the same. Just one's a dinosaur old thing, and the other thing is the Cadillac of fighting, which is mixed martial arts. To me, that is, I'm on Andrew's side when there's more weapons, there's more things to do.
I'm not comparing one of the. I'm just saying they're both fights. That's all I'm saying is they're both fights. They're both fights.
I'm
Is
agreeing
a
with
judo
you.
match a fight? Is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match a fight?
I would call it that.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd
because
say
you're
so.
fighting.
Well, see,
You're
then you
fighting to
can
get to an
then you
ending.
can put that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Then
I win.
it's
All right. Good. I won. I won the argument. I won the
I
argument.
I just like talking shit on boxers, man. That's all I like to do.
I have no
no,
problem with you doing that either, because I would love to see you in a boxing match, to be honest.
I like boxing, and I like a lot of boxers. It's just their sport is whatever.
What do you?
I'll never fight a boxing fight either. By the way,
why not? You could possibly get a little bit more slipping in than most of the guys. Well, they're slipping masters. There are slipping.
Yeah,
masters.
well, the whole point of a boxing fight is to hit the other person in the head, and that's like I'd rather have other ways out, man.
Yeah,
you know.
And that's what I'm saying. Like with the evolution of the sport of combat sports, mixed martial arts obviously and no pun intended for where they do a lot of the fights, but it's the apex of what humanity was trying to do when it came to professional fighting. If you look at everything, because I want to ask you a question. Do you watch boxing on like a semi-regular basis, or you watch like big fights or anything like that, or?
I watch big fights sometimes, and I'll turn it on for like half a round if I'm scrolling through the channels, and then I'll turn cartoons back on.
What cartoons do you watch?
I've been loving the regular show, and I've been watching it like a second time through now.
I love regular show, dude.
Do you?
Yeah.
You watch Rick and Morty?
And I've watched episodes, but like it's like you with boxing. I'll watch like half of it. I understand. I love Mr. Meeseeks. Don't get me wrong. Mr. Meeseeks is awesome, but like I don't know. It's just some of the episodes are fantastic. I'm gonna say
that's the only reason I was asking. I've noticed because people have told me to watch Rick and Morty. I don't like it that much either. It's like you either like regular show or you like Rick and Morty. You don't like both.
I always loved regular show just because it was way more random than any other cartoon show out there. My only issue with it is I feel like that one and Steven Universe, their animation styles are being used far too much in other cartoons. Far too much. Like the Thundercats looks like Steven Universe now, and I'm a huge Thundercats fan. And I'm like, I don't want to watch that kind of animation. I love Rick and Morty's animation, though. You
know what I like, Red?
What?
I like MMA. That's when we started this podcast, and that's what we're here to talk about. Damn it, you fucking nerds! You fucking nerds!
Hey,
get out of here, nerds!
This is a great
Andrew,
conversation.
all right, I have a question. Damn it, I have a question. All right, Ray is a super nerd. He loves pro wrestling.
Yes.
And that reminds me, like there is a bit of that, man, in MMA. You know, you got to the shit talking element. And I know you're someone who doesn't really play that game. Although I've been trying to get you to play that game for 10 years. I tell you, I can help you, man. I was gonna write you a ghost Twitter account, man, but you didn't want me to do it. But I guess my question is that frustrate you that there's more to this fighting business than just fighting? There's a lot more to it than just fighting.
Oh yeah, that's frustrating, man. And I mean, it ain't fair but nothing is. So that's like you can run your mouth and you can get ahead, and that's like you got somebody like me who's fought my ass off for a long time. I just refuse to talk shit, so I'm kind of still sitting around here, and I ain't upset about it. It's frustrating for sure, but it is what it is. I'll stick to my guns on it. I'm not going to be the person that talks shit. It's like I'm a martial artist first, I guess, before I'm a fighter, but I love to fight.
Well, I'll help you out, man. I'll just ask you a question. You just answer it. Ready? Who's the biggest bitch you fought? Go.
The biggest bitch that I fought?
Yeah, who's the biggest bitch?
Professionally or like all the way through?
Let's go professionally.
The biggest bitch professionally. Man, I don't think I fought any bitches as a professional.
All right, then amateur. You got to talk shit about somebody.
Alvin Worlds, man. That dude was a chode. Yeah, bailed on. We were supposed to fight, and like I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. I already had my hands wrapped up, my cup on. I think I had warmed up once, and like 20 minutes before we're supposed to fight, he gets sick.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's like the state commissioner like brings me over. And it's like your fight's off. Your opponent's sick, and Alvin's standing there. He looks at me. He's like, "I'm sorry, man." He's like, "They just told me that I couldn't fight if I was sick like this." And the commissioner looked right at me. He said, "No, you can fight. You don't want to fight."
Good.
So
I'm glad.
that
Good
fight
on that
ended up
commissioner.
failing. Yeah, no, it was. We ended up fighting a couple months later, and I choked him out in 1:12. So
Perfect then.
Man, I do remember that. I was there when that happened, and that really fucking sucked because that was up in Cleveland. We all came up, right, and then you didn't fight. It sucked, and then yeah,
Right.
you did end up fighting him later. That was also, didn't he put a video out when he was making fun of judo or something too?
he made fun of judo, and that's don't make fun of judo, man. I will toss your ass to the ground.
Or at least like just get in the cage and accept the fact that you like got your ass beat. Like it's.
Well, he even acted like a bitch after the fight. He is giving my corner the middle finger. He was threatening my team, and that's like the whole thing just went on for longer than it had to.
See, my opinion, and I do come from the pro wrestling world, so it's just mostly shit talking. Like pro wrestling is 90% shit talking, 10% is the match. Like that's all you have to do is just get the match in the ring, and that's your 10%.
You do local pro wrestling?
Are
you that big of a nerd?
Yes, actually, I bought this at a show here in Cleveland, and this guy is in the WWE now. Like this was before he went into the WWE. It was like his last show.
I train with a professional wrestler. He's one of our black belts, actually. His wrestling name is Justin Diaz.
Okay, I don't know that name. Give me. Do you have the real name of the guy?
Ryan Best.
Still no. I don't. I'm more like Cleveland area. If you like train anywhere south of Cleveland, I don't really know you because I go to a lot of AIW shows. Absolute Intense Wrestling. They are awesome local shows for only like $20. They aren't a sponsor. I hope they do someday. But because I think that would be hilarious, a pro wrestling show sponsoring an MMA podcast. That would be, to me, hilarious. One of the greatest works ever.
Pro Wrestler is running one of the better programs in Ohio right now for fighting, one of the promotions. Then he came, Honor, and Jeremy came from pro wrestling first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That guy, I actually am friends with him. Is it just because I think we're friends on Facebook, the guy that runs Honor. I didn't know he came from the pro wrestling world. My thing,
OCW, I think, was his.
Yes. What's his name? Tim, this is for you, actually. Brett Thomas's cousin wrestled for OCW. Sherman Tank was his name. He's just a big dude, just massive. But like getting back to the topic of shit talking, like because I come from the world of pro wrestling, I kind of need that to like get me interested. Like Conor, I'm a big Conor McGregor fan. A lot of people aren't, but I am, because he can shit talk and sometimes back it up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, not always. We've seen in the past. But I'm a fan of that. If you can do it and then back it up, or even just get in there and lose, if you still got in, I respect you for talking that much shit and still being like, all right, we're in. Let's go. Let's party a little bit and see what happens. I do like, though, when guys back. I hate when guys back out, though, after shit talking. I think it's like that's bullshit, dude. Like, and like I said, hats off to that commissioner, dude. You must call him out. Yeah, I would have. If I was in your corner or one of their guys, I would have laughed my ass off right in front of them, and because that's a bitch move. You can't just talk shit and then not take your lumps. Like that's just. You need that. You can't have that bone. That's where the whole thing of like you need to have that bone in your body of being a killer in anything you do, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm done. I'm sorry, guy. I'm sorry I talk so much shit. And making a judo video, I hope you dumped him on his head when you tapped him out, because I hope
he actually He threw me. So he got the takedown, and that's his whole claim to the fight. But motherfucker took me down right into a triangle choke.
Oh my God, he flew right into one?
Oh yeah, he took me down, boom, locked my legs around his head, he was tapping.
That's happened a couple times with you. Like I just give you the credit and say that you pulled guard, because you had a pro fight too that was like that too. The guy took you down, but then you triangle choked him right away.
Which one was that? I don't remember that one.
That was Marsac, I think.
Oh man, yeah, he did. He took me down and I triangle choked him.
Yeah, this is what I was gonna ask. All right, so we know that I said it in the podcast before that Cody Garbrandt's from this area too, right? You guys were amateurs at the same time, but he started getting super successful as a pro after he left. Like he left, and then he went to California with Alpha Male. You've stayed here the entire time. You train in town here in New Philly. So like, did you ever think about moving? And like, why haven't you ever moved and gone to like one of the big camps? And what's your training like now? Why do you stay around with the local people and not go somewhere else?
I mean, I guess if I'm gonna make it, man, I'd rather do it on my terms. I don't want to run somewhere else just to get where I'm trying to go. And that's like, I mean, I coach people too. I got a lot of amateur fighters that are solid studs right now, and that's like, it don't count. It's not true success if I leave everybody that started with me just to make it big. I'd rather bring them along with me, because they're riding and dying for me, win or lose. So that's like, they're gonna be proud and be there for me if I continue fighting in the state of Ohio, or if I end up on a UFC card someday.
How long have you been coaching?
My whole life, since 16.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's like not MMA. I think I've officially had my own gym for about 2 years now. So
congratulations.
Thank you. We had a good year last year. I think we ended up as a team, we were 16-5 for the year. And we're 2-2 on the year this year, but COVID kind of shut everything down. But actually, one of my guys, Brogan Enders, he's one of my strongest competitors, judo black belt. He's fighting August 15th in Kentucky. So
nice, very cool. Is there more like an adrenaline rush from being a fighter or a coach? Like, which one do you? Because like coaching has to have a way different like mindset from being a fighter itself, probably, than anything.
Oh, it's way different.
Which one I'll give you these. Which one scares you the most? And which two, when happens, which is like a bigger adrenaline rush, coaching or fighting?
They're both pretty different. I think coaching for sure scares me. Like, I hate watching my guys fight, man, because that's like, I know what it's like to be in there, and I know the damage that they're taking. I know, and that's like, I can tell long before the fight if they're in a good spot, if they're in a bad spot, and I'm there for the whole process with them. And that's like, I'm a nervous wreck when they fight. When I fight, it's easy, you know. I know that I can get beat up, worst case scenario. So that's like, I'm super nervous when they fight, because I want to see them be successful. And especially, I know the training that I put them through. So I know that if somebody from my team is fighting, they deserve to be there. And that's like, I'm always nervous for them. I don't want my friends and students hurt, and I want them to have a good night. And that's like, I think winning wise, it feels, no matter what, I try to stress to my guys that you fight individually, but it's a team sport. So that's like, everybody gets jacked on everybody's success, whether they were watching the win happen or whether they were the one winning, you know.
But when you and then as a coach, if you get like a rookie, you've obviously had, you know, first time fighters and all that kind of stuff. When do you get like that sense of pride when like do you get, because I coached hockey for a little while, and watching a kid who, you know, has been working his ass off in practice and everything, gets his first goal of the season. You're like, yes, the kid, he finally got what he wanted. What's whenever one of your fighters wins, is it sort of like you feel like you have a hand in that success? And then also, I know I've done this in in coaching when I did it, and this was years ago. But like, it would always be like, all right, you got that one. Now let's work. You got that, but we got training, you know, Monday. time to get in there. Is that a hard balance to kind of, after a fight, get a fighter to really focus on training afterwards from a coaching standpoint?
It depends on the person, man. Every fighter is different, and just like every person is different. Some of my guys, I have to tell them, like, hey, why don't you chill Monday, Tuesday, and come back in the gym on a Wednesday. And then I got some guys that they fight, and then they disappear till the next time they want to fucking fight, you know? So that's like the guys that are always in the gym are the ones that are getting better, and the ones that aren't there so much, they are about the same fighter that they've been since they started, you know? And that's, I'll coach anybody and I'll train anybody and I'll teach anybody, but not everybody gets the same coaching and training from me. That's, I mean, I do. I'm biased. If you're at my gym working hard every day, I'm going to give more energy to you than I'm going to be to some dude that I see every 3-4 weeks, you know?
Absolutely.
What did you give me? Did I get like the D- training? What did I get?
We were still learning how to fight, man. We didn't even know the things that we know now to train for that fight, let alone when I was training and fighting for myself back then. We did what we could, man, and you had a great showing for all that considered.
That has to be your greatest coaching accomplishment, though, I think, right? That me 2 weeks in, I did lose, but it wasn't too embarrassing. Like, I stayed the rest of the card.
It wasn't embarrassing at all. It wasn't embarrassing at all.
Ray, this is the time to ask them all your questions about it.
Oh, okay. I have the perfect question to start off. Why? Why did you even take this lost cause? What? No, why? What was it like training Tim? What when he first started out, and how much improvement up until his first fight did you see right off the rip?
Well, that's dude. Tim's my dude, and he wanted to fight because that's kind of that's like, I'm really happy because most of my friends that have wanted to try fighting have at least got to try it because of me, and that's like, Tim wasn't the only friend that was like, hey, I want to fight, but that's Tim worked hard, man, and his fight really, he was in positions to win it multiple times, and it's just, no offense, Timothy, I love you, but you're not the most athletic dude to be. That's true. And he got paired against an athletic, strong guy, you know, and that's like, I mean, I bet if they ran that fight back now with the training and the experience that I have, it'd be a way different story, because Tim got me as a coach a couple years ago while I was still even learning things that I didn't even know to this point, and I'm constantly learning still. I'm a firm believer of like leading by example, and that's why I still fight, because I want to be a good coach, so I want the most skill I can have for my guys so I can teach them things they're going to need to know.
I will say, man, I only had 2 weeks in. Sorry, Ray, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
I went 2 weeks in, but what you taught me to do was exactly what happened in the fight. You said, this guy's going to come at you and try to swing wide and knock you out. What you need to do is, you're going to get hit, but you want to try to grab him and take him down. And exactly what you said would happen did happen. So we basically just drilled that for 2 weeks.
And it worked,
exactly
man.
What happened. Yeah.
Yep. And you almost had a choke too, if I remember correctly.
Me or him?
You.
I don't think I did. I don't remember. I haven't seen the video, man.
Control.
It was
you
7
did have
years
top
ago.
Control, and you landed ground, and you won the first round, man. You won the first round.
I ran out of steam, man.
That's easy to happen.
I mean, by the time the fight was over, like, it was a TKO, but I'm not just saying this. He didn't hurt me. I mean, punches hurt, but I wasn't rocked or anything. It was just out of steam, and I was getting hit. But I did have a good mount escape right there too. It was right before.
Yeah, dude, you did a lot of good things during that fight.
It was fun, man. I tell Ray all the time. Ray said he wants to do one.
I do. I want to get in and have one before I'm 35. Like, that's my goal, is to like get in, get trained because I actually train every once in a while because my finances right now suck. Over up in Euclid for I don't know if you've heard of Tim Stafford.
Revolution.
Yes, yeah.
Those are my dudes, man. Logan Urban is one of my favorite.
I love Logan Urban.
He's my favorite training partner, man. I love working with Logan.
Yeah,
Nikolai.
Nikolai
Comer
Gianti is a fucking savage of a
He is, man. George Comer is like the OG Ohio MMA guy. He's still around. Tim, I love Tim Stafford, man.
All those guys are fucking
I love that
beings, man.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite gyms.
George is one of my best friends. Like that dude is like there's nothing better than seeing his smiling killer of a face and
right.
just that dead eye. And George, I love you, but it's a roast thing when I say this, but that dead-eyed smiled face of his, and you're just like, I love you. There's nothing that is bad about you. It's all good shit. And you're like, yes. All those guys are just killers. Tim's a great boxing coach and a great boxer. Yeah. I've watched some of his fights. They're fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, man.
And then Comer's first fight, I've seen Comer's first fight that happened in Menor when he was fighting with his old gym. Griffin Raw. Yeah, that's actually where I started.
Really? So you know Jason Dent too?
I've met Jason and I like Jason. I've never had a cross word with him ever, and he's
same.
Yeah, he actually got my Kimura game really good to get me to be able to position myself over the guy's head is because of Jason. Like he helped me and drilled that over and over again, and I'm never not gonna say that dude helped me 10 times get my jiu-jitsu game up, and I had only been doing it I think like 7 months at that time. And he just got me crisp. I was like, oh. But also Jeff Starr too. If you know, I don't know if you know who Jeff Starr.
I don't know Jeff.
He was the Griffin Raw jiu-jitsu guy. And he runs his own gym now in Willoughby called Practical Self-Defense, and it's got like Brad Bukovics, who's a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Out of Orwell. He does a lot of stuff at Gracie Orwell. And then I never really remember
Timothy Thomas.
I knew Tim, but I'm trying to think of the guy that runs with Paul Renberger. Or Paul Renberg. You're gonna kill me, Paul. I'm sorry, but he's a big 6'6" black belt under Jeff, and they run Practical Self-Defense out in Willoughby over by Lost Nation Airport. And that guy is the guy that started a lot of us, even like George and everybody else. Jeff was the guy to help everybody kind of train because he was I think a black belt even at that time in the early 2000s. So there's those guys that have trained out of Griffin Raw and then has parted ways and everything still are training just mind-blowing, insane people. Tim Thomas, by the way, runs King of the Mat, which I love. I haven't been there yet, and I want to go check out the facility. I love Tim. I was afraid of Tim for the
He's a cool dude.
It was funny. He had a shoulder injury when I first started going to Griffin Raw, and there was nobody to partner up with on the mats that day, and I got the honor to go with him and Brad Bukovics to just practice. And I remember the first thing he said to me was, "All right, white belt, be gentle." And the first thing I said was, "Yes, sir." Like, I'm not going to hurt you because I know you can kill me. And I'd rather not have that, man. Like, I don't like those guys in gyms. Never have. I don't like I get squirrely, but I never try and hurt people. You know, I'm a casual white belt. So it's like you never have that opportunity to really train if you don't do it often or get better if you do it often. But you know the things, and my big thing is breathing.
You know what you know.
Yeah. You know what you're trained and you've drilled many times. My thing is never hurt it. I don't want to hurt anybody. That's my biggest thing. And you see those guys who just go hard and really have no technique like me, but I, again, try and do gentle shit. But, I don't know my own strength a lot of the time.
there's this time I was at judo rolling with Andrew, and he was, he basically plays with me like he plays with a 3-year-old child when he rolls with me.
Yes.
That's basically how it goes. But he pulled my arm for like an arm bar, and my arm cracked, but it was just like air. It didn't hurt. It just like cracking your knuckles.
Oh.
And he heard my elbow crack, and he let go. He's like, "Oh shit, man, you okay? Good, man, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine. It just cracked." But the point is that he doesn't want to hurt anybody either. That'd be the worst.
Well, obviously, I mean, you never want to hurt people when you're doing this stuff, because a lot of the times the dudes you will hurt are the guys who are like Andrew, who are, don't want to hurt people and know how to do it softly. You end up hurting those guys more than anything else. But like, whenever I see new guys, I'm just like, I don't want to hurt this guy because I want them to be brought back. Like, I want to have people
I want you to come back.
Yeah, because I always get people who, when I tell them I do jujitsu and all this stuff, they're always like, "Oh my God, you ever get hurt?" I mean, no, but I've gotten general soreness from just getting fucked up a lot. I mean, because when you're rolling, it's depending on level. I mean, there's guys at Griffinroll that I rolled with where, like Andrew, just all of a sudden I'm like a 3-year-old, and they're putting me where they want me to go. And those are the guys I love rolling with, because you learn as you roll. Because I think it's always fun to be humbled in that sense, where you're like, Paul, the gentleman from Practical Self, taught me a hip escape, and he's 6'6", probably about 260, and he's just like this with me, looking down, like that's all he's doing, and then just like relax, grab the foot, and and he just went with me, and I'm like, oh, thank God, I learned this. Like, it was a great day. I loved it.
Yeah, speaking of injuries, man, let's have a good talk, man. Let's have a good talk, Andrew. Let's talk through your injuries, man. How fucked up have you gotten fighting, man, through 10+ years of this shit, man?
Yeah, I mean, I did really well at the start of my career. It wasn't until the last couple of years that I really started dealing with major injuries. I mean, you get hurt training and you bust your fingers, your feet, like that. That's the stuff that happens. But that's like, I guess the accumulative damage of professional fighting is more or less started to catch up in the last couple of years. I've had a couple I probably had more concussions than anybody should really have, but I had a fight where I fractured my cribriform plate, which is the barrier between your nose and your brain. I woke up the next day after the fight, and I had spinal fluid leaking out of my nose for a couple days. I had a long experience with a neurologist, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and trying to get that sorted up. It actually kept me out of competition for about 14 months.
Jesus Christ. What was that? When you woke up and realized that, first thought, what was it? Like, I need to know. I've got my bell rung playing hockey, but I've never had broken that area. What was, when you touched your nose? I have to know what the first thought was.
It was like a faucet, like you turn the water on in your sink, and it was just dumping out. But that's like the fight was the night before Thanksgiving. I ended up getting illegally kneed, and dude, I had a broken nose going into the fight, so that cartilage and tissue was already soft and pliable, and he illegally kneed me right in the nose, and I guess it just cracked it then. And then so I woke up the next day, and that's like I had all this fluid coming out of my nose, and it's supposed to be Thanksgiving, man. I'm supposed to be eating food and having a good time, and it's like, man, great, I just got fucked up last night and now I'm sick. I thought I just had a runny nose. So that's like, I just would shove some toilet paper up in there and block it and go about my day. And then that's like every 45 minutes, man, like they just plop out because they were so saturated with fluid. And so the next day it was still going on. I called my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, it's like still coming out of my nose. Will you meet me over at the hospital? And drove to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, this is spinal fluid. We're going to have to send you to Canton. And I ended up getting a spinal tap. They had to do a bunch of different tests to make sure that I didn't have stuff leaking inside of my skull and all over the place. And it is a good time, man.
Oh, my God, dude.
That's my pick for the biggest bitch you fought, man. I thought you were going to say Scott Hudson, man, the guy who illegally kneed you. Because I wasn't at the fight, but I saw the video. It wasn't even
cunt,
close.
man.
that
knee wasn't even close.
I think I won the first. Well, I did win the first round, man. And I think he was frustrated, and he pretty much took the first available way out, which was a dirty shot, you know. And that's if he would have had a little more patience, he probably, because I was hurt going into that fight. I ain't making any excuses for it, but like he probably could have won that fight if he would have played a better, more fair game. But that's, yeah, I mean, he kicked me in the nuts and then tried to knee me in the head right after it. He poked me in the eye and then tried to knee me in the head right after it. And then, when you believe it, when I'm a downed opponent, motherfucker throws a knee right in my face.
Right.
Are you serious?
He was dirty the whole fight. I've been offered that rematch several times, and I don't want to go fight a guy that I know is going to intentionally fight unfair.
I saw that an illegal knee, because that was an amateur fight, I assume.
No, that was a pro fight.
Pro fight.
Is pro, you can't throw knees in pro in Ohio?
He was down.
Not,
he was on all
you were on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was like a shot before that, and then it was okay. Because I saw a fight like that in Columbus. I can't remember the organization that they ran out of like a sports complex. I can't remember the organization offhand. I actually, girl I was seeing and we had just like general admission, and I guess a guy backed out because of injury. And me and her and a couple other people kind of abscond the cage side like table that they had set up, which was dope. Like, I never saw like an amateur / professional fight like that close to the cage ever. So, and it was free. It was basically just $30. Like, we paid to get in, and that was it. But I saw a fight in that where I didn't know in amateurs you couldn't knee to the face in Ohio, and this is a couple of years ago. So I know that now. But I remember the dude that took the shot was this black kid, and he was fighting, I think it was either Middle Eastern or Hispanic, and just dude knees him just right in the head, and you just see him go like this, like, oh. And that was it. And I'm like, I would have been dead if that knee would have hit me off the rip like that. And they fought a couple.
Getting knee in the face.
And they had a few more things. I think they had a knee up the middle that hit the dude's cup. They got kneed in the head. He got another. It was just a sloppy fight. But I have to, like, hats off to anybody that takes an illegal hit and keeps going. You know, like, it's. I would be that guy that takes the 5. Like, I would. No offense. I'm that guy where I'm like, I was an illegal shot, dude. And I'm a little dazed still. Like, I'm good.
That fight, I did have to tell the referee that I couldn't continue, because I had time to recover, but dude, it hit me so hard. I had no clue what was going on. I thought that I just lost the fight. Like, I thought I got knocked out and I lost the fight. So I'm like, I couldn't even stand up. So I'm crawling over to my corner, which my dad still sits in my corner. And I get over to the corner. I was like, well, that sucks. And they're all like, are you okay? It's like, yeah, but I mean, I just lost. And then the referee's in my face. He's, hey, can you continue? You can't be in your corner. I was like, well, yeah, I can continue. And I'm down on the ground. He's like, well, you got to stand up. And it's like, well, shit. So I struggle up to my feet, and he's like, are you good? It's like, yeah. And as soon as he turns his back, I'm falling back down to the ground, because I was done, dude. I couldn't continue. If I would have said yes to continue to fight, I would have walked right out there and just got murdered.
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know if you've been watching the Fight Island cards. That I can't remember the guy. He thought he was going against the cage, and he was done. That guy was rocked, and he was fucked up. And he went to like go lean on the cage, and he didn't realize the door was open.
Yeah,
that was
dude. That actually
stoppage.
happened to me at that fight. I fell out. Yeah, they opened the door when I was leaned on it.
Oh my god, oh my god, that you must have had a flashback when you saw. You're like, oh, that was the day.
It looked familiar.
Oh, dude, that is like, whenever you get those kind of things, illegal shots in any combat sport, I'm always and there has to be a stoppage of that kind of thing. I'm one of those people where I hate it just because as a fan, because it stops the action right where you might have had a good couple combinations coming off a guy, and next thing you know, best example I can give of a show that I saw stopped on a big level was I was at UFC 210 in Buffalo.
Was that the Hughes fight? Oh no.
That was Cormier Johnson 2 for the light heavyweight title. That was right after Johnson ripped Glover Teixeira with that uppercut that knocked his tooth out. That was a dope fight, but the Cormier fight ended the exact the way I thought it would, which was Cormier on his back like the first fight.
Wrestling him, yep.
But the first fight on that card, within I think 2 minutes of the fight starting, there was already an inside dick kick. And I remember yelling out from the back of the crowd, "Learn technique, asshole," or "proper technique, asshole." I always hate when stoppages happen like that. Especially, I get mad more at the fighter that threw it more than I do the guy taking it.
Yeah, man.
Because
you're responsible for your weapons and where they land.
Fuck yeah, dude. I don't know if you watched the fight from UFC 251. Where it was just that sloppy ass fight. Me and Tim talked about it on the recap episode, which is going up on YouTube now, and it's on Spotify as we speak as well. Check those out. They're awesome, and give us a follow. But we were talking about, I can't remember what fight it was, but there was just knees to the balls over and over again. I think the illegal knee when he was on his knees. And you're just like, how do you do that? Why do you? And that was the same fight that the dude fell through the cage. I'm piecing back. I'm sober, but I'm high, and things piece back. It's fun, but at the same time, man,
I'm sober, but I'm high. All right.
I am technically. I am not. I have not drank alcohol yet. That's for
the official motto of the Bro Plata podcast. I'm sober, but I'm high.
But we will. But yeah, man, like I always hate those because you've trained for like how many months, and you're just gonna give that effort. Like as a fighter, you must really, like on television especially, it must kill you to watch like very sloppy ass fights that are on television that should be at a sports complex in Columbus, Ohio. Like, what do you think about when you do watch like an upper echelon league fight that's just plain garbage outside of Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5000?
I mean, everybody has their off nights, man. That's the fight game, dude. I mean, you can't be a stud 100% of the time. Like, it requires having bad nights. It requires having good nights. And that's, if you have an opponent that's having a good night, you're having a bad night, it's going to be a bad fight. For you, it's still a good fight for them. But that's, I mean, I love watching my weight class, the welterweight class, and that's the UFC just released the rankings for the 170-pound weight class, and it's like it's weak, man. I could be up there in top 5 and beat all of those guys, and that's
what?
I mean, you got.
Oh my God! Wait a minute.
Are you calling shots, Andrew? Are you calling shots?
Well, dude,
you're coming off a loss, man. You're calling shots.
I'm coming off a loss, yeah. I don't necessarily think I lost the fight, but I'm coming off a loss. But it don't matter because, dude, Jorge Masvidal just fought for the belt, dude, and he's got a lot of fights and he's tough. Dude was on a 3-fight win streak getting that title fight, dude. My last streak was more than double that.
Yeah, for sure. And the fight I saw with you, I honestly thought it would go split decision your way. Like, I thought at the end of that, because of the fact that you put him in so much danger to begin the fight, like the way you just busted him open with those elbows was awesome. And I think and I want to ask you this question from a technique standpoint. I don't think elbows get used enough. Do you? Like in mixed martial arts, you see some guys, I think the guy that's fighting 252, Hamzat Chimaev, used elbows when somebody was trying to get a double leg on him, or somebody was, and you don't see that a lot of the time. Do you think that's just because like guys have too much confidence in their ground game, or do you think like they don't think that elbows are an effective weapon, do things like stop a takedown or a double leg if you can get up against the cage and start throwing. Like, why do you think the fighters a lot of times don't use elbows more in normal situations?
I mean, I don't know, man. I love elbows. That's my favorite thing in the world is to cut somebody open.
Yeah. And you, dude, I'm going to tell you, I never have seen anybody outside of maybe the UFC and like at the lower levels bust somebody open with elbows like I saw you do
You gotta come watch me
him.
fight more often then, man. I make a lot of people bleed.
I'm down, man. I'm always down to watch a fight. Trust me. But like seriously, I've those elbows and the way you were controlling your ground game or him on the ground in the first and just even in initial scrambles was just a thing of beauty. I loved watching you on the ground, dude. That was fantastic. And
thank you.
And I think it should have gone split decision. I thought you had three out of those, and I'm serious. The way I was judging it, I mean, you put him in a lot of very. He had you in some situations, yes, but you were the aggressor a lot of the times, getting the top position, making sure. And he did give you your medicine a few times. I will say that it was kind of cool to watch him back, and you're like, yeah, this is
dude. After I split him with that elbow in the first round, the last thing I wanted was that dude to be able to elbow me back.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Like
I know he wanted that back the whole fight. He fought that hard just to elbow me.
And that's the thing. Like you guys complimented each other very well in that cage that night because I was enthralled, and that happened months ago, and I'm just like, this is fucking sweet, man. Like that was a good fight.
It was a solid fight.
Yeah,
it was a good fight. And he was a good dude too. And that's, I mean, fighting's not personal to me, man. And that's I thought I won, but I don't want to take anything away from Aaron Highball's victory because they declared him the winner, and he very much so was.
Yeah, and I'm not, and that's why I said it was more of a split. I would have given it a split decision because after some of those rounds, I didn't know who to really judge it for. So I was like, yeah, let's see what the highlights were and go from there and see who had the better highlights when it came to it. Because a lot of times that's how I judge it too. Is on TV at least is better highlights. Who's throwing, what's getting shown. Because I'm a fan too, so it's like you go with what you see. But the fight, you and Highball are complimenting each other stylistically in that cage. And I would love to see a rematch.
That's what made that a tough fight. Yeah, it'd be fun to fight him again, I'm sure. It would probably go exactly the same way. I knew he was going to be tough. Like at weigh-ins even, like I don't know, man. Like you know when you break people, and certain times when the fight's already over, and it can be over at weigh-ins. It can be over the night before, and that's him and I squared off. And I remember I went back to the room and I told my dad, well, hey, he ain't scared. This is going to be a tough one. And sure enough, man, you got the fight that you got out of that.
Oh, yeah. And it was a fantastic fight, man. Like, I will say this. I've watched a lot of local MMA, even like around the country, like the local promotions of different places. If I see something, I'm like, oh, look at this card because it's on YouTube. And yours is one of my favorites that I've seen so far, where it was both back and forth, like just constant movement. And I'm like, this is exactly what a championship fight should look like in any promotion. Just hard fought, both dudes covered and cut up and looking like you just came out of a fight with Tyler Durden. Like it's the perfect, to me, that's the perfect fight. And even if it gets a submission, if both guys just put everything they have into it in every round, that's when I know that I got an amazing fight. And
that's what we fight for, man.
And even one-sided ones can be very entertaining. That amateur fight I went to in Columbus, the main event was a title fight, and the champ just had this kid in a body triangle, and I felt bad for him, but at the same time, like, this is fucking high-level shit. And what made it entertaining was his family members were right next to us, to our left. And I'll never forget, the sister was just like, I think his name was like David. And it was just like, come on, David! And that was the more entertaining part because you're just watching him get body triangle punches from the side of the head. And the guy with the body triangle is laying on his back, just calm as a cucumber. And he's just wailing away on this guy. And they're just having hope over to my left.
They're having hope. It might turn around.
Yeah, if we cheer hard enough, it's gonna happen, man.
I will tell you from experience, man, it really sucks watching one of your best friends lose a fight.
Yes.
Yeah. When you go there, it does suck. But at the same time, man, when you go into your fights, it's always the most fun because we've been friends a long time, and so I have more invested in you winning than anybody else. So it's always more fun to watch you fight. Your last fight, I was running all over the place trying to get good angles, man. I can never sit down when you fight. But I was going to say my favorite part of the highball fight was afterwards. You guys showed so much love. He actually, Ray, did you see this in the video? He actually took his bottle of water and poured it into Andrew's mouth. It was so adorable. It was so adorable. So I want to ask Andrew, so at the hotel later, how was the fucking? Was it good? Was it was it romantic or was it round 6? What was it like?
How was the fucking? Is that what you said?
With you and Highball, man, because you showed some mad love.
Well, man, he came over to my room and brought some wine. We lit some candles.
So it was
discussed
romantic.
the journey that we had just been through, and
turn on the notebook and said, "Hey, well, let's have fun."
I was the most miserable I've ever been in my whole life after that fight.
No, man, I bet we were miserable for you.
Yeah, man. I'm watching that fight, man. I'm watching you after when they called the numbers and everything. It was, again, I think you at least had one more round than he did. And I honestly say it could have gone a split decision more than just a I don't think it was a unanimous decision. I really don't. That fight was too fucking close, dude. Too fucking close. Because both of you were just insane.
Ray, how are you scoring fights? Because what you're saying doesn't make any sense.
I had also
have
been
a split
drinking.
decision. You said that you personally have a split decision. That's not how fights work. You fight, you score. There's 3
I
judges.
score it
They
as a
score
fan,
for-
and I think we lost Andrew.
So, maybe.
Nah.
We may have.
If that is the case, then what we'll do right now is we will leave Andrew. Smile. We did lose Andrew. What we'll do is you want to just cut it here and
No, man, I have more shit to ask him.
okay. Then we'll just continue to talk. I like Andrew. Andrew Law is now one of my favorite fighters in MMA. Great dude. And we're trying to get him back on the line here. And hopefully we can now that we understand tech more. We'll take this opportunity real quick.
I'm going to take this opportunity to take a piss. Right?
Okay. Well, then
you're on your own for a second here.
And I'll put the camera on myself as that's happening. And we want to thank you for watching the Bro Plata podcast on our YouTube, our Anchor, and our Spotify's. And you can get all these episodes right after they happen on Anchor FM. And while we're trying to get everybody together and take a leak, I'm going to do a little song and dance for you. Not on you. No, I'm kidding. But how fun is Andrew Law? He's a great dude, man. I like the fact that he's got a lot of the same philosophies as a lot of people that I've talked to on other MMA podcasts. And I can't wait to get him back on because we want to have a little bit more time with him on this and have a normal goodbye. And we have Andrew back on the line. And we're gonna go back into gallery mode. Tim's empty chair, and we're waiting on Andrew. So what I'll do is I'll just put myself on gallery mode. And again, you can get our we put the videos up, and we also put clips up of stuff. This interview will have clips to it, which is always a fun time. And I'm very happy at the fact that you guys are watching. And we'll be doing more of these episodes just because the month of July is still going to have a lot of fights, and it's still going to be made into a fun thing. Tim is coming back. I see him on my little camera. We're still waiting for Andrew. I approved the thing to join, and hopefully he can get back on. Tim Danko getting back to his seat. This is how we run the Bro Plata podcast. Sometimes technical difficulties happen, and maybe I need to start learning how to put these up on YouTube to have some fun. But
you've been talking shit.
Yes, I was, because you're a piece of garbage, sir. I love you.
Has Andrew tried to get a hold of you?
Andrew is in, but it says still joining. So that's why I was talking to these lovely people still until he rejoined, and I was going to do the rejoin on it, but we're doing technical difficulties due to something. I'm not sure. We'll blame it on coronavirus. Let's just do that.
Yeah, it probably was the
Texas.
coronavirus.
Let's blame Texas, everybody.
Man, I lived in Texas for a year. Texas is really cool, man.
Texas is fucking awesome. I love Texas.
Cool
We got
place.
another Andrew Law thing here, and for some reason, there we are. It's gotten back in everybody. Andrew Law connecting his audio on the lovely Bro Plata podcast, and his audio still connecting, and we're waiting on him to show up on our lovely area underneath. This is what we do, folks. This is how we run the podcast. It's just a normal, fun podcast that's audio and video driven. You can see Tim Danko at Dig Danko, and I am at Ray Hyclak, RayHyclak.
All right, when we get him back,
Andrew,
man,
can you hear us, friend?
I have some questions. Not yet.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Hear
You
your
just need to
voice.
turn on your video, yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta do that again.
You good, son. We just had technical difficulty. It's all good.
Shit does happen.
It does. Hey, he's back. He's back
There
on
he
the
is.
Bro Plata.
There's that beautiful face.
It's impressive that I figured that out without your guys' help too.
I know. Yay, we're teaching people technology via Zoom.
Yeah, I think if I could figure it out, I figured you'd be able to figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm amazed I can. So,
Yeah.
Tim, you had a question before our guest got so rudely interrupted.
I have so many questions. This is always a great question to ask someone who's had a lot of local fights, man. Let's talk about the venues, man, because the people who don't know, if they only watch fights on TV, they see them in arenas and whatnot. These local promotions, man, they will have fights literally anywhere there's space. So let's talk about some of your favorite and least favorite places where you've threw hands, man.
My favorite place to fight is in the back of an arcade. I would fight there my whole career if I could. I had a lot of success there. It was fun fighting there.
That's where I fought.
Yeah,
that's where I fought.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the name of the arcade? I didn't know that there was fighting in the back of an arcade. I would have gone to that. How the hell? Where was this?
Proneo's. It's in Akron. I guess it's not an arcade. It's more of a batting cage.
One of those like entertainment complexes or whatever.
Yeah, in the front they had video games, but they also had batting cages, and I think they had some basketball hoops. But in the back, they had this big space that they usually use for like teen dances, I think. Yeah, usually what they did is they had like eighth graders come in on the weekends and do something, funny. so the kids didn't do the drugs apparently, but they decided to have fights there too. So it was pretty shady, man. There's definitely worse ones, man. Andrew had some fights in a glorified barn, which is pretty cool.
That must have been interesting.
Yeah, bottom levels of parking garages, man. I fought everywhere.
Yeah, that was a pro fight. That was King of the Cage.
That was a pro fight.
Like
I fought in the parking lot of Woodbury Outfitters.
Yeah, that too.
It sounds so outlaw. I love it,
dude. The King of the Cage one was nuts because I drove whatever it took, an hour and a half to get to whatever part of Pennsylvania that was, and it was at a casino, and I assumed, oh, cool, King of the Cage at a casino, it's going to be in a big conference room or something, and I get there, and it's literally in the parking garage. Yeah, that may have been the shadiest one. That was a King of the Cage fight. It was in the parking garage.
That shows the level of King of the Cage. I love them.
Yeah.
I didn't like them too much. I didn't like fighting for them. They were all rude, man.
I was about to say, they seem, the way they do because they're actually on, what's it called? Whatever oil company, I forget what the oil company is that owns their own like sports network. They have King of the Cage like shows on like, I think it's every Monday. They do like a King of the Cage marathon. And, like, it just looks like the dudes who run that just run it on a shoestring. Like still to this day, they still run it on like the same budget from like 1999 that they had. It's a weird thing, man. It's not Charles Horse. It's not Crazy Horse Bennett anymore. There, you can't just throw that out there like that. You need some style, King of the Cage. Treat Andrew Law better.
They were just rude, man. They had this little, I don't know. I don't even know what his job title would be. His name was Angel, and he was about 5'6" and just an asshole. Ordered you around. The thing I hated most is you literally had to ask to go to the bathroom. Like you had to let them know when you were gonna go pee. Ew. That's like, I mean, I just got done cutting weight and I actually fought at 155 on that fight. So, dude, all I had to do was pee. So it's like every 2 minutes I'm asking Angel if I can go to the bathroom.
Ew, fuck you for saying for not letting. Ew, that's weird. Yeah. That's almost weird as weird as the Chael Sonnen and USADA thing. Like you can't like go anywhere without giving piss and blood and like but in your case it's you had to pee and they're fucking with you. That's messed up, dude. What's the best place you've ever fought at?
No, I don't know. They're all cool. I think the fanciest venue I ever fought at was probably Nautica, the last one.
Yeah. Because that must be is there a difference from going from like, oh, we got a dog. Yay, doggy! I love it.
He's awake now.
Aw. Like going from a venue like maybe even like the Tadmor Shrine in Akron or the Tabor Shrine to a place like Nautica, is there like do you feel a difference like energy wise, like crowd wise? Is it like compare big venues compared to small venues? Which one do you like? Which one has like the better vibe to it?
I think they're about the same. I mean,
okay.
The fight's the fight. I hate the Tadmor Shrine. It's funny you mentioned that place because that place has bad vibes, man. And that's like, I mean, some venues feel good and some venues don't feel good. And it doesn't have so much to do with the crowd size or the venue size. I guess it just
okay.
The energy that's circulating that day.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that being a thing that would be like just the vibe, especially would be the mood would be the most important probably going into the fight. What is out of the 7 wins you had, which one was the most satisfying, would you say? The one that like you were like, yes, I wanted to get this win. Do you have one that was like more satisfying than any other?
Well, I mean, it felt good to come back and win the first fight after a losing streak as bad as I was on. And that's I think the most satisfying win I've ever had was after I fractured my skull, and I had a bunch of people telling me that I should stop fighting and that it's not smart to fight and that I shouldn't fight again. And then that one felt satisfying to come back after a 14-month layoff, and then to not just come back, but to come back and win and not have skipped the beat and actually fight like the best fight that I've had so far. That was the best one for me.
Nice. Very nice. Which one? Obviously probably the fracture is probably your worst thing that's happened in your career, I would assume.
That was a bad one. Yeah. And then I actually recently on surgery, which has kind of prevented me from training and thinking about taking any fights for the next probably 6 to 8 more months. And that one I don't want to get into too much detail about because I don't want to give future opponents a target.
No, we're not asking. We're not asking for a medical report, brother.
Shield for a fight. So,
Tim, do you have any? What do you want to ask as well?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Okay, so we did a podcast together. I think it was in 2016, and you said on that podcast, and I quote, "Concussions are a myth."
Yeah, no shit.
Do you still feel that way?
Nah, man. You learn and grow and change as a person, just like you do as a fighter, and you learn new things along the way. And no, I do not feel that same way anymore.
I think I looked it up, and that was like it was a few months before that Scott Hudson fight. So you said that, and like five months later, you got illegally kneed. You got that concussion.
Yeah.
All right, this is a question. You knew this one was coming, so I'm going to get it out of the way. Okay, so back when you were an amateur, there was a time that you tried out steroids one time, right?
Right.
And I guess you don't do that shit now, at least I hope. When I found out about it, you remember I was very pissed off at you.
We were so disappointed.
Yeah, because I went on a rant recently
that
about
I lost the fight that I took him for. Which I should have lost.
Yeah, I won't say which
Although
fight it was, but I will say it was a loss.
That Bill Morsetti was also on steroids, so
it's not the point.
You're right. It's not the point.
I was so pissed. So I guess my question is, what went through that decision to try it, and how did you feel afterwards? I guess physically and like emotionally, did you regret it, and why do you stay away from that shit now? And what do you tell your fighters if they ever ask you about that kind of stuff?
I mean, at the time, I had a friend that was really big into lifting and steroid usage, and he kind of pushed me to try it and explained all the things that it would do. And I mean, it did. I don't even think that I actually completed the cycle that I was on. I think I only did like 6 of the 8 weeks or something like that, and I was already over it. But I mean, I put on size because I've always been a smaller 170-pound fighter. I'm an undersized welterweight, and that's even as an amateur. I had fights where I would weigh in at 164 pounds, and I took them for growth, for a little bit of size, so that I could be more competitive with the larger frame people. But I didn't like the way that it affected my headspace, because that's like I got stronger, and then I kind of started leaning on being stronger more so than I was leaning on my skills. And I've never been the strong guy. I've always been the skillful guy. So I won't do them again. It altered my thinking way too much. My guys don't do steroids. The ones that I would think don't talk about it very much, and we don't talk about it, and I don't condone steroid usage whatsoever.
Yeah, man, don't cheat. Don't cheat, man. When I went on that rant a couple episodes ago, man, that's my thought. That's why I was so mad at you, man, because I'm like, you don't need to cheat, Andrew.
Right. Man, you're right, man.
And I'm happy that you lost, because what's a win if you cheat, man?
Me too, man. I didn't deserve to win that fight. I cheated training for it. Like I said, Bill was on steroids too, but that doesn't matter. That's beside the point. If I wouldn't have cheated, maybe I would have won.
Yeah, I've always been a very staunch proponent, or not proponent, but whatever it would be. I'm against any form of steroid in sport in general. I think that's kind of, and I even think like even pre-workouts can be like, there can be shit in that to like make you get a little bit more, pumped up and all that kind of stuff. But it's still technically, I like doing the all natural stuff myself as well, just because it's like, if you can't do it with what you have, just learn how to just do it over and over again, and you will be able to do it. You don't need that kind of shit in your life to have, I've heard some people talk about it in like circles, and I'm like, I'm going to stay away from anything like of that nature. You do you, but I'm not going to do it. This is not a thing.
I wouldn't do it again. I have gotten a little bit larger in size as I've gotten a little bit older, but I'm still a small 170 pounder.
Well, because how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, so yeah, we're all in the same age range. Yeah, I didn't really get this body until I was like probably 25. Like I'm a 5'9", probably 5'11", 200 something, and I grew like I was a small runt, and I actually considered at one point asking somebody about steroids, and I'm like, I'm good on that, dude. I'm good on that. Yeah, I don't know, bad thing, bad scene.
Tried it, wouldn't do it again. Don't want any of my guys to do. I
Good,
feel like, especially
Andrew,
in combat sport,
I will kill you. Listen,
fight. That's fine.
I will kill you. I'm saying right now on the internet, which is forever. I will kill you. Don't.
Not if I'm all roided
I was
out,
so
man.
pissed when I found out. I was so mad at you.
I know.
I don't think you talked to me for a couple days.
That's probably true, man. I was very happy you didn't win, though. If you would have won,
Yeah,
look,
then,
I would have.
then when you
I would have
did
called
decide to
people
talk to me,
probably.
that's what you were saying. I'm glad you lost.
Well, I was going to ask you about weight classes because we were talking yesterday about heavyweights and some of the reasons why they has such longevity, and maybe part of it is because that weight class seems maybe a little bit more shallow than like lightweight, welterweight, but also they don't cut weight. That has to be a huge deal, and you don't really cut weight, do you? At this point,
Not a ton. I mean, yeah, 10 pounds at most. So sometimes I can walk around at 185 pounds. Usually when I'm training for a fight, at the end of a hard week of training, I am down to about 178 pounds, which is just a gallon of water, and which makes it a true water cut to hit welterweight.
right? That's not even a tough cut, right?
No. My last fight, I was so happy because I woke up and I was able to drink a cup of coffee. Like, sweet. It's not gonna be a totally miserable day.
Man, that must be great.
How like weight cutting and everything? What is it that last like 10 pounds? You always hear last 10 pounds is the hardest to lose. But like with mixed martial arts weight cutting, it seems that you guys have it down to like pretty much a science now, to where it is just water weight at the end rather than having to take body fat off. What's your usual diet regimen when it comes to like when you're about to get ready for a fight? Where do you start your prepping? Is it right after you find out you have the fight? Is that when you're all of a sudden like, this is the diet we're going on, I'm going to be there? Or do you just kind of go, okay, this is what I did last time, and then go, that kind of, what is your preparation diet wise for a fight?
I mean, when I fought 155 pounds, which I did a couple times, that was a tough cut, and I never felt good at that weight class. And that's one of the circumstances where just because you can make the weight doesn't necessarily mean that it's the weight class for you. And that's so that's like I guess I'm in a rare spot with most fighters because I try to bulk up to my weight class so that I do have something to cut because I'm naturally skinny. I like 165-pound weight class would be ideal for me, but I don't like cutting to 55. So I'd rather fight at welterweight. So my whole fight camp, I'm fortunate. I get to eat, which I guess now like it's dumb that people don't fuel their body when they're trying to train for competition. So that's like I said, I'll be within 8 pounds every single week of training that I've trained hard, and that's the weekend comes around and I'm eating mashed potatoes and steak and pizza, putting fuel back in my body and size back on my body for the next week of training. That's like I have a very strict fight diet, and it's nothing extreme. It's just proper water intake, supplements, protein, lean protein, dark green vegetables, just the average recipe, man. Just discipline and what's going in your body, things that are useful to it.
You just mentioned the 165 weight division that you would be good at. And we actually talked about that on the last episode, that they're 170. I think Tim said 170 should be cut into 165 and 175. Mm-hmm. And I agree with him on this. Even for middleweight middleweight going up into light heavyweight, there should be a 195 in between that because of the 20-pound disparity. A lot of guys can't really put that 20 pounds on. What would you do with like weight classes in mixed martial arts? Like what do you think should be the poundages? Do you think they should go boxing? Do you think they should still take the 5 pounds or the 10 pounds that they're doing like right now, besides going in the welter or middleweight and light heavyweight? What do you think there should be more weight classes in MMA?
I do, and I think that would deter people from doing such extreme weight cuts as well. You got big welter. My weight class, especially 170, is a weird weight class because you got a lot of guys that are just a little bit too big for 155, but then you have a lot of dudes coming down that are just a little bit too small for 185. And that's, I bet if you split welterweight up into 165, 175, I bet you wouldn't get a lot of bitching and complaining. I bet the smaller welterweights would go to 65, and then the larger welterweights would go to 75, and everybody would be happy with that.
It seems super obvious to me. Like we were talking about it yesterday. It doesn't. I mean, it seems so obvious that it doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, they haven't done it already. I know that I think officially they actually are those weight classes, but most promotions just don't use them.
Yeah, the UFC hasn't adopted those.
Right. I think you just kind of got to convince some promotions to start, to give you a super lightweight title or some shit.
A lot of promotions in Iowa, a little bit more west, they have adopted the 165, 175. And actually, the state of Ohio has talked about it when they reopen men's combat sports, adopting the weight classes.
Yeah, what have you heard about that? What have you heard about that as far as promotions and when they can and even if they will? Because, I mean, probably they're going to have to get everybody COVID test, right? And that costs money. So what have you been hearing?
The only thing that I've heard as far as fighting in the state of Ohio is not through the 31st of July.
Okay. It's probably going to be longer than that, man. Because I was talking with Ray. I mean, I don't – if I was a promoter, Ray, I don't know how much money some of these promotions make. Some of them are okay. But, I mean, would you risk making a card where you can have no gate and you have to pay for all these tests, right? So you have no gate and you have to pay for all these extra tests, and then you're hoping that you get that many online buys. I mean, you get some. I mean, you saw online buys, but like how many? That seems like
we're talking about that. Like, if it wasn't last night, it was the night before. It's like I think there'd be less people involved in local MMA if you had to watch on the internet. Like if you couldn't actually go to the site to watch it.
Yeah, that can definitely be
probably true.
That can definitely be an issue. I didn't think about that. That it could dilute everything, the crowd, once everything comes back. I thought about that, where it's like, hey, why not just have some place where it's even on like a promoter's backyard, so they don't have to, they make their own fight yard or something like that.
You had one of those too, man. You fought in a backyard once too.
You fought Jorge Masvidal style?
No, it was the one that got rained out.
Oh,
yeah. It was in a backyard of a bar. It was, I mean, there's houses on either side, and this bar was literally a backyard at Geneva on the Lake.
Oh, right? What bar? What place was it?
It's probably the bar at Geneva on the Lake. One of them.
There's a couple of bars. Roadway is nothing but bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of where I'm out by is Geneva on the Lake. And there's like the Cove is one of them. And I think the Cove's done MMA fights before.
It may have been that one then. It was whatever did, what do they call it, War on the Shore for NAFs.
Yeah. I remember NAFs. I did camera for them once with Mike, the guy that usually runs like all the MMA stuff around here. He's going to kill me. I just asked him for work like 2 months ago. Fuck.
The picture guy, Moran.
Moran. Yeah. I love that dude. He took me to Indianapolis once for Midwest Fight Series when that was a thing, which was.
I fought for them.
Dude, what's one of your favorite states to fight? What's one of your favorite states to fight in?
West Virginia.
I can only imagine.
Oh, dude, I loved fighting in West Virginia. It was so much fun.
Did you fight for NAFs out there, or was it for somebody else?
It was for somebody else.
Okay.
It was some podunk promotion that needed a professional fighter for that weekend. And that was actually the fight that I took on 3 days notice. So.
Okay. Yeah. Where was it in West Virginia?
Parkersburg.
Oh, okay. That's a good area. I like that area. I've seen Naps did a thing in Morgantown years ago, 2012, 13 that I helped out with. And that was actually on the campus of West Virginia University. It was awesome to see the venue because they had it pretty lit up well. It was dope. I miss it. I miss Naps.
I don't.
As a fan.
Yeah,
What?
as a fan for real, man. They did a really good job at putting fights on
Oh
and
yeah.
bringing people to watch.
And their production value was amazing as well when it came to the lighting and how they had the cage set up, and the tables were set up fantastically. I liked NAS on the production side. They were always top notch. They were great.
Yeah, the ring announcer they were using is with PFL now.
Yes, somebody make some noise.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Don't
No,
sue
Andrew,
us.
I was gonna say like that fight in West Virginia, wasn't that entire card just like built on this one hometown hero who was gonna have one last MMA fight, right? In
I
a
got
small
that
town, and you went down there and beat him like a dick.
Oh yeah. But you know what, man? I've lost in my hometown, so it's okay. I know what it feels like.
You did. That did suck. I was happy I didn't have to drive as far for that one. It was just down the street, but it did suck. It did suck seeing you lose that one.
Like my worst showing right in New Philadelphia.
Oh no.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, Tim, you got any more questions, my friend?
Man, I know I'm gonna forget. I'm forgetting stuff. I know I'm gonna be pissed because I'm not remembering the questions I was gonna ask. I should have wrote them down.
Well,
I did.
I was gonna say write them down, and luckily I'm your friend.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You have to come back. I think when I asked him,
plus we can always have Andrew Law part 2. There is
he'll be
he'll
be back.
Andrew Law.
He'll be back. But I think when I asked him the first time, I told him that I'm not asking, I'm telling. I'm like, if you want us to still be friends, you have to do this podcast.
I love how this has become a bargaining chip. This is awesome. 3 episodes in, it's a bargaining chip.
He loves me. He'll do it.
I do. I love you, Timothy.
I know you do. I love you too.
You can you can take the podcast or the money. You can't have both.
I was gonna tell this story because you're talking about cutting weight. I think this was like your second pro fight. The promotion decided they wanted to have public weigh-ins, and I think they thought people would show up. And he knows the story I'm talking about. He knows. Okay, so no one really cared about the public weigh-ins, so they did them at like a Friday night at a restaurant called Legends in Massillon. And I was living in Canton. And I've been to that restaurant before. Yeah, this bar restaurant. They have this badass sandwich that has like every kind of meat imaginable, then fries and coleslaw on it. It's a beast, right? But they have this side room where they're having the weigh-ins. And I think Andrew was on weight because I think he ended up having a replacement fighter and a catch weight. So you were on weight.
He ended up asking for 5 extra pounds. So I was already on weight.
Yeah, you're on weight. That wasn't everybody. So I get there, and there's a side room, and it's a public weigh-in, but there's not a lot of people there other than the fighters. And they're waiting, and the commission was late. So everyone's on weight, and they're pissed off because the commission is not showing up, right? And I'm like the one person who's doesn't need to be there at the public weigh-in, so I thought maybe there'd be more people there. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back into the bar. So I go into the bar, I get a beer, and I get that giant-ass fucking sandwich. And I walk back into this room with just the starving fighters pissed off and waiting for the athletic commission. And I start eating this giant sandwich. And Andrew just looks at me and just says, dude, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, what? I'm like looking, and I see like 3 or 4 guys who were on weight pissed staring at me. They wanted to kick my ass, man. They're pissed. I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't even think about it. So I just take my sandwich and run back into the bar, like the far side of the bar, and eat my sandwich and wait.
Tim, you should leave, man.
He said you should probably go. I didn't even think about it.
Oh, Tim, what is?
I mean, that's not what they had in mind when they had public weigh-ins. They wanted people to come and do that. But I was the only one in there, and was the only one there with a big-ass sandwich, and they were all waiting on the commission on weight.
I was about to say, in your defense, you were the only person in the room. If it would have been like 15 people in this side room, I would have really gotten pissed at you.
It was just
We're
fighters,
good on
coaches,
you, Andrew, for kicking them.
Fighters, coaches, and me with my big-ass sandwich.
With your fucking hamburger, right? My dad still likes telling that story.
Dad too. What is he doing?
Every time we're waiting on the commission for weigh-ins, he tells that story.
Goddamn Danko.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
Come walking into a room full of
about
professional fighters with food.
I didn't even think about it.
That'd be like walking in to like an anorexic anonymous meeting and being like, I brought chips. Like, that's just not
right.
That's not something you say.
Doing lines at the AA meeting, yeah.
That's an NA meeting, sir. I have one on third. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Okay.
Get it right. God damn it. No, that's hilarious though. Like I honestly, if I would have been one of the fighters, I wouldn't have said anything, but I would have been staring. I would have.
No, there was just some glares. I remember
they were all glaring.
Yeah, I remember that death glare I got from John Mongoose Myers, man. I remember that.
He was,
and I know
ready
John,
to
I like
kill
John,
you.
but man, he wanted to murder me.
Ah,
And I don't blame him. I just didn't think about it. It's funny. Like if I wasn't the only one there for the ceremonial weigh-ins who didn't have to be there, I wouldn't be the only one doing it. But I was, and I was. So
that's
Man,
hilarious, dude.
I think that's pretty much all I have. Oh, you know what? This is what I was going to ask you, Andrew. Andrew, what is it going to take for your next fight, man? And other states are fighting, so when you're ready to go, man, we can find you a fight, man. I promise. We'll find you a fight in Iowa,
As soon as I can
Kentucky.
fight, man, I'm fighting the motherfucker.
We're going. All right.
Nice.
What's it going to take for you to get yourself like a Bro Plata logo on your shorts? What's that going to take?
You should absolutely do that.
Dude, if you buy my shorts, man, you put what you want on it.
I think that's fair. That's
Yes.
fair.
I have several other sponsors that need to be on there. You don't get total control, but if you pay for the
Well,
shorts,
we're just looking for
understand that.
placement,
they're
bro.
yours.
How much for the crotch? We want the crotch.
Ah,
What? I don't
yes.
know.
I'm down from the crotch.
What about a T-shirt, man? You wore that T-shirt you're wearing to fights before, right? So if you don't have a sponsor, can we just give you a T-shirt, man? We'll make you a T-shirt.
I'm
Yes.
not for sale, Timothy.
What?
Not
What'd
for
you say?
sale, man.
You're not? You're a fighter. Yes, you are.
But if we give you
That's-
free things, that's the
Is that
nice
what-
part.
How many
Yeah,
fights have you had and you still don't know how your business works? Like, yes, you are. You are a billboard who throws punches, Andrew.
This is why
That's what you
I'm,
do.
this is why I'm still in Dover, Ohio, man. Because the only thing I can do is kick ass. I'm not good at the rest of it.
I have told you a million times, so I'll help you with anything, man. I'll manage you. I won't be good at it, but I'll do it.
But I'll do it.
But I'll try. I put a lot of time into it because I have more time than I like to admit. Right? I'll talk shit for you. I will ghost your Twitter account. I'll ghost read it for you. Also,
Dude,
how much to pick your fight song? Like if we just give you like $200.
Don't do that
just
because I know
pick your
exactly
song.
what I would do first. I know exactly the first song.
I wouldn't be too mean.
T-shirt
man.
is fine, man, but I don't know about the fight song.
Ooh. You don't want to walk out to like "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees? That'd be badass. Just come out,
Well, I think
purple shorts.
next fight, I want to walk out to the Fallout Boy version of "Beat It."
Yes, that would be a good one. I was also thinking, who's the Canadian singer, Bryan Adams? All of a sudden, you just said, "Listen to your heart," and wouldn't that and just walk out like that?
What?
I think
What
that
song
would
are
be
you talking
a great
about? Are you thinking of Heaven? Listen to Your Heart is Roxette. Come on, get
one. No,
things
listen.
right. Get things right.
I think it was "Listen to You."
Oh no, that's a different song.
So it don't
You
tell
will
me
find. Yeah,
it's
that's a different
not
song.
worth fighting for.
Yeah,
You're just
that's a
walking
Bryan
out
Adams
like
song.
that. I think of
Yeah.
who was it? Oh, you're familiar with Tom Lawler, the MMA fighter. Yeah. You remember when he came out? It was the Diaz McGregor. Diaz McGregor won after he came out dressed like Conor at the weigh-ins, which was epic. But he came out to "Like a Prayer" by Madonna for his fight. I loved him. He's my spirit animal for that. Like I love Filthy Tom Lawler.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's filthy, right? Not
Yeah.
toothless.
The only reason I know that because of AIW. He's been wrestling in AIW for like a couple of years now. He's been coming in and out doing spots for local pro wrestling companies. So he's been doing that. He's great.
Yeah. Andrew, how many years before you go just to pro wrestling? Like, is that gonna happen anytime soon?
No, I don't want anything to do with that, dude. They get hurt for real. Only they're not like it's predetermined who wins. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
I want my chance to win if I'm gonna hurt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Ray would probably like this take. It's not fake. It's just fixed, right?
Yes.
I mean, people
thank
actually
you.
get hurt. Yeah. Okay.
I like the word "fixed." more
Yeah,
than
that makes more
fake.
sense than fake because people actually get hurt.
Yeah.
Ryan's more fucked up than I am as a professional wrestler than a professional MMA fighter, man.
And especially like nowadays, and I want to ask you this question since we brought up pro wrestling and MMA and you going there, but there's been some names. But getting on the thing, yeah, the pro wrestling guys who come into pro wrestling, the injuries. I mean, I've seen dudes get dumped on their heads and have to be taken to the hospital. And also nowadays, though, it's gotten a little bit more what they call extreme, where now they're like throwing each other through doors and hitting each other still over the head with chairs and shit. And I'm like, can we go back to old school wrestling that I liked watching that looked like a sport rather than just a crash, you know? It's, but what are you
asking?
I'm making a statement more than
okay. I'm sorry.
But my question is, there's been a lot of former mixed martial arts fighters going over to places like the WWE. You have Matt Riddle, who's over there right now and making a big impact. He actually just had a fight, a cage fight that had MMA style rules. It was kind of worked the same way. They actually had a shot where the dude spit teeth out after, I think it was a Showtime kick.
Ray, only you care about this. Only you care about this.
But here's my question. What do you think about those guys? Like, I mean, Brock Lesnar, obviously, but like Cain Velasquez has been in WWE. You got Tom Lawler, who's doing pro wrestling. What do you think about those guys actually doing professional wrestling on a semi-regular basis, at least?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you still get your pain fix, and you're probably at that level, they're probably being compensated better for that than they are for the fight, you know. So I guess if you're gonna get hurt, you might as well make some money for it, I suppose.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll send you the Brock Lesnar Cain Velasquez Saudi Arabia fight or a match, and you'll just be like, what the fuck? I even was like, this is the most unrealistic shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, they tried to make an MMA match in pro wrestling, and it just did not work at all. It was bad.
Does it piss you off when the opposite happens? Like when CM Punk was in there getting his ass kicked by nobody?
Yeah.
I mean, Mickey Gall is a fucking punk.
Yeah.
Dude, CM Punk, he impressed me, man. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, he didn't deserve to be in the UFC, and he should have fought as an amateur, you know. But like, dude, he trained hard and he showed up to fight, and he tried to fight. He just got beat by a guy that had a little bit more experience than what he did.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I ain't gonna lie. What was it? A shit show and undeserved? Yeah, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. What was weird was when Brock Lesnar came into the UFC, they told him, we're not going to put you into UFC until you have an MMA fight elsewhere. Right. And he took one and he won. But they didn't do that with CM Punk because they probably knew. He's going to get beat by some, like 500 fighter in the middle of nowhere. And then no one's going to give a shit about him. Right. At least when they just brought him to the UFC, there's that question. All right. Probably about done here. Right? I have what was I going to ask you? Well, he's bored. Look at him. Look how bored he is. He's tired. We've had him for like 2 hours now.
This is going to be a good interview. This is going to be a great episode, though.
It will be. And we're going to have him back, I'm sure.
Yes. With Andrew Law
Also, we're going to need your help, too, man. We're going to need to get some other fighters, too. We're going to need you to put a good word for us. Some other guys.
Dude, I can get almost anybody you would like. I can get you pro fighters. I can get you a lot of my amateur fighters, man.
Can you get
brother?
How about Kama? You can get us Kama worthy? You know Kama?
I bet I could convince Kama to do your podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We want to get some UFC fighters, man. So that would
we're definitely
Cody's supposed to stop in at the gym the next time that he's in town, which is I think he told us it was next month. So how about if I try to get you Cody Garbrandt?
Well, we talked about that before, man.
We've actually said that would be the idea. That's one of the ideal ones that I would want on here. Because I told Tim this story, but I have a newspaper clipping from the New Philly Dover area of one of the newspapers, and it's got him and his brothers all getting ready for like the wrestling season that year. Yeah. And Cody's bald. And like, hopefully it's still in the same place that I left it. I have an idea of where it's at. If we got Cody Garbrandt on this bitch, that would be one of the first things. That would actually probably be a live show, and that would be the stand with our logo somewhere on it. Like, because it's an awesome shot. It's history. It's a dude who's a world champion. And I have something from when he was in Ohio and nobody fucking knew him. It's awesome.
Good. We'll get him. Andrew will help us out, and also, I mean, like we said, his uncle who coaches him is around here too.
Yeah.
So we know some people. We can get it done.
I'm excited for it, guys. And with that, we're gonna close down because it is almost 6:00 as the time we're recording this, and there is fights going on. And we're gonna have that review tomorrow or Monday afternoon.
On too.
Yes, this will be up Sunday on the audio version. You can get that on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcast needs met. We want to thank Andrew Law, dude. You're fucking awesome, dude. Can't wait to have you back on the show. And go check out Andrew Law. I'm going to put the camera on you here and give your plugs, give your social media handles, the gym, all of that stuff. Get it, and so people can then go bask in your glory, Andrew Law.
I don't have many plugs, man. Like we talked about this whole podcast, I'm the worst at this. But I got Facebook. My gym is Route 250 Health and Performance, and that's you'll find out more about me and what I like to do if you come.
Absolutely, man. And go get Route 250. Go check them out. And it's been an amazing interview. We went 2 hours with Andrew, and I'm excited to put this and post this up on the internet. I'm going to then now go to Mr. Timmy Danko, the pretty boy, and just give the social media handle, you pretty sexy man, you.
Active Danko on Instagram and Twitter, DIGDANKO, Tim Danko on Facebook. Andrew, love you, brother. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Anytime, man. I love you too. I had a good time. Thank you, guys.
Oh, for sure, dude. And it was a fantastic time. You can catch us on YouTube. Just search out Bro Plata, and also search out me at Ray Hyclak. And you can check out our social medias at Bro Plata, all one word, on Facebook. I'm still working on the Instagram, but we have the YouTube and the Facebook where we post all of our episodes. So again, thank you to Andrew Law. This has been the Bro Plata.
I have something.
Oh, Timmy Danko.
I'm sorry. I was trying to give you a single, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Andrew, I was going to ask you, man, what do you think of the name, man? What do you think about this name?
I was going to comment on the way out because it's awesome. Great name. That's the best name for a mixed martial arts podcast.
Hell yeah, man. I want
to see you win a fight by Bro Plata, which is, I mean, in the cage would be kind of difficult. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It's mostly just like a go-go Plata by doing something like having a white beater on, or like having a tattoo of like your favorite stripper's name or ex-girlfriend on you, chugging a Monster or a PBR or something like that.
I was going to say I win by go-go Plata and you toss a can of PBR in.
Yes!
Yes, that's the Bro Plata. I like it.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. And again, thank you to Andrew Law. This has been the Bro Plata podcast. This has been the Bro Plata podcast, and you keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
Yeah.